Right, perfect. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome all to the fifth session of eFreight Exchange. This is a platform which is a practitioner-led platform to hear about what are the insights in running electric trucks. Today's session is specifically understanding what goes behind financing these trucks and what uh, is required in terms of support from the ecosystem when it comes to actually having these trucks run and also make sure that the risk is not just on the operator but across the entire ecosystem. With that, I would just hand it over to Mr. Amit. Mr. Amit is a consultant at NITI Aayog, which and he works under the electric mobility platform. He's also leading the eFast India platform at NITI Aayog. Over to you, Amit ji.
So, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome and speak with all of you. And I extend my sincere appreciation to all our industry and knowledge partners who are contributing to India's electric freight transition. So, our country has already built remarkable momentum in the e-mobility over the past few years. So, there has been a significant progress in two-wheelers, three-wheelers, buses, passenger vehicles. The next freight electrification, which is the top priority for the government of India now, is the MHTV freight electrification. So this transition is not only important for in terms of reducing emissions, but also for strengthening India's energy security, lowering the logistics cost over the long term, and then improving air quality also, which is a very big issues. Uh, so the today, I think the key challenge is no longer whether electric trucks they work or not. So the pilots across the country and the data coming in at NITI, it has already demonstrated that electric trucks they are viable, economical over the long run. And the question now is how do we scale their deployment commercially? So the most important enabler for this transition will be finance. So we are all aware of the financing challenges for deployment of e-trucks, such as high upfront costs, uncertainty around residual value, and the evolving technologies. So we'll not go into it, but to resolve these financing issues, I think the financing now needs to evolve simply by funding an e-truck to financing projects. For this, the most important things which can be taken up by the industry is demand aggregation across corridors which have already been identified by PSA. But I think most important demand where there is an demand on the corridors where there is an electric truck demand, and then that will be subsequently followed by corridor saturation. But I think this no single stakeholder can drive this transition of corridor saturation. So this would require close collaboration between all OEMs, shippers, LSPs, financiers, and CPOs also. So I think we will let's discuss on the further steps which can enable all the partners, stakeholders to contribute to this. So looking forward to the discussion and learning from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit. I think it's a wonderfully put thing that, we are no longer at test deployments, we are at scale. The only hurdle that we are talking about is finance and charging infrastructure. And the way to do it is to flood through demand aggregation a particular corridor. I think wonderfully put. Over to you, Arun. Thank you for hosting this session for us today.
Thank you, Kaustubh. So as Amit had mentioned, finance is one of the critical areas for enabling green transition in the transport sector, and all the more important for a capex-heavy industry like logistics, which involves trucking. Now, Vertelo, the company where Sachin ji works in, so Vertelo has been instrumental in creating this ecosystem from a leasing or as a service perspective, right? When I spoke with Mr. Sandeep Gambhir, who's the CEO of Vertelo, he mentioned that this is a task of building the ecosystem, right? It is not just financing a certain asset, It is about building the entire ecosystem, which is a more longer term as well as a more involved exercise. And we are glad that Vertelo is in the process of doing that. So we need more such players in the ecosystem to finance electric trucks, to lease electric trucks, and so on. Right. So without much ado, I will introduce Sachin ji, and then we can hear from him directly on how they're working in this sector. So Mr. Sachin Nijhawan is the Chief Business Officer of Vertelo India. He's a results-oriented business leader with more than 25 years of experience across business development, sales, marketing, product management, and operations. Prior to joining Vertelo, Sachin served as Chief Commercial Officer at Switch Mobility, which is Ashok Leyland, as you would know, leading sales, marketing, aftermarket, product, program management, and corporate communications. He has spent a significant part of his career with Mahindra and Mahindra, holding several leadership positions across Mahindra Auto, Powerol, and Mahindra Construction Equipment. He holds a Bachelor of Engineering degree in Mechanical Engineering from Nagpur University, and he's also a recipient of a Fulbright scholarship at Carnegie Mellon University and has completed an executive certification from IIM Ahmedabad. Outside of work, Mr. Sachin is an avid runner and has participated in several marathons in India and internationally. So thank you very much for joining us, sir. Over to you for your talk.
Thank you, Arun. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm loud and clear. So, okay, before I start, one thing we say at Vertelo that we are not a finance company, we are a bit different. And you can gauge it from the fact that I, being a non-finance guy, presenting on behalf of a finance company. So that's how different we are, and that's how we work. Just give me a second. I will share my slides with you, and then we can start from there. Okay. Is it visible? Arun,
Yes,
it
it
visible?
is. Yes, it is. Certainly,
Oh,
yes.
great. So, friends, Vertelo is a Macquarie-backed platform. So this company was formed almost 2 years back. Meon India Private Limited is the company name. Vertelo is the brand name. So we started with operating lease, and we lease only and only electric vehicles, and we do four-wheelers and above. We don't do smaller ticket items, and we don't do anything other than EV. But last year, October, November, as you can see at the bottom, we formed another company called Meon India Leasing and Finance Private Limited, which is the NBFC arm of Meon India. So we started with operating lease, but many people then were asking for finance, lease, and loan. So that's where we got this company formed, and in a span of 4 months, and we have started operation in both our entities as far as business is concerned. But the front end remains same. That is, the team remains same. It's just the kind of financing as required by the customer. We decide upon which entity to work on. So Vertelo is backed by, it's a Macquarie funded platform, as I said. We raised an equity of 405 million USD, out of which 200 million has come from Green Climate Fund. And Macquarie, Green Transition Solution Fund has put in 205 million. So we are the largest funded, non-banking funded entity in the EV space in India, I can tell you that. And this entire money is mandate for only India and only EV. Now, we cannot do anything else, and no other, hydrogen or anything. And we cannot deploy this money outside India. So this money is only for India. And we aim to deploy almost $1.5 billion in the next 7 to 10 years. So that's our aim. We currently have deployed electric buses and cars and built certain charging depots, which I will explain later on. And now we have started funding trucks as well. We buses, as far as buses are concerned, since they've been there for last 6 to 7 years, so we have funded intracity, intercity, STU, non-STU, all kind of buses. Okay, so if you see this slide, the important thing to note here is that government has a COP 26 pledge in which we have to achieve net carbon by 2070. We have to increase our RE capacity to 500 gigawatt, reduce carbon emissions by almost 45%. On top of that, I think the most critical part here is India's energy security. And with the recent war which is taking place and the way global dynamics are playing, we all will agree that we cannot be so highly energy dependent on other countries. We have to do something so that we become more and more self-reliant. And I think EV is the perfect answer for that. And we are already seeing that in the market, that adoption started with two and three wheelers. Now it is picking up very fast as far as four wheelers, buses, and trucks are concerned. We have done a lot on this side in last 2 years, and I'll just take you through one by one on what we've been doing and what we plan to do. This is just what I said. We expect that the commercial E4-wheeler sales to grow by almost 33% in next by 2030. So is on the e-bus side, at least 25%, and on the charging space as well. Because charging and vehicle have to grow in tandem, then only this ecosystem will work. Otherwise, just incentivizing one sector and not taking care of the other, this entire thing will not work. And we are happy to share, and I'm sure all of you know that government is putting a lot of effort now on the truck and the charging side as well. What they did on the bus side some 4 to 5 years back through CESL. Okay, so what are the current challenges? So if we talk about ICE, it is pretty simple. You buy a truck, you put fuel in that, staff is already there, maintenance can be done anywhere, fuel is available everywhere. RV is not an issue because it is an established product and everybody knows that after 5 years, what value my truck or bus will fetch. The initial cost is also not very high. Now, when you come to EV, I think all these points become a huge challenge. First of all, the product, which is almost 2.5 times the cost of the existing ICE vehicle. You have to train your staff to drive these vehicles because otherwise the reliability and the efficiency of the vehicle goes down drastically if especially the driver who's operating the bus or truck is not fully trained. You cannot maintain or service this vehicle on the roadside. It's just not possible. It has to be done by the OEM at the designated places, by skilled manpower. Otherwise, this product just won't move an inch. And if you don't maintain it properly, actually there's nothing to maintain. You have to just check the product on regular intervals, and if you do the periodic check properly, nothing happens to these vehicles. But if you don't do that, a small problem can become a very big problem. Coming to fuel again, there are no fuel pumps to say, so you have to have a charging infrastructure on the route which you operate, and that is one area where we play a very big role, which I will talk to you in the next slide. I think last but not the least is the residual value. Today, the value of this product is not established. Nobody knows what will happen to this product after 8 years or 10 years, and what will be the RV and how to dispose of this vehicle or the battery. I think this is a huge risk for any operator or any customer who's buying these products, which we have seen that every customer comes and asks us that what will happen. So here we play a huge role. We have a technology platform, and the RV risk is also taken by us. So when we do the structuring of any finance or lease offer, this risk is evaluated by us and considered when we offer the product to our customers. So what are our USPs? As I said, that first of all, we can optimize the solution as per customer needs. See, in this, there is no one solution for a customer. Every contract is different. Every, to say, the customer ask is different, that the tenure is different, the running cycle is very different. So you have to not only create the ecosystem accordingly, but you have to tailor-made the product. Product means the financial product which we offer according to the need of the customer. So we understand the TCO, we understand what in which operation the product is running, and then we customized the entire financial solution as far as customer is concerned. Since we deal with almost all the OEMs, we definitely do get a preferential terms in certain cases as far as warranty and life of the vehicle is concerned. Uh, we we not only finance the product, which we feel is just a part of what we do. We provide solution from end to end. That is only two things we don't do. We don't manufacture a product and we don't operate a product. In between, whatever is required to run an EV, we do that. Whether you want to buy a product, you want a charging infrastructure, you want a service setup to be done at the at the location. You want a non uninterrupted power supply at the depot, and the maintenance of depot and everything is we do for our customers. And that, I think that is what makes us unique from any other financier which is currently available in the market. So that customer doesn't have to worry. He or she just has to take the product, run it, ensure that it is being charged on time, ensure that drivers are trained on time, and goods are moving. We do have our digital tech. So what I mean to say is we put our own unit on every vehicle we finance. We track the data which we get from the vehicle, and we give solutions to our customers, not only by telling him that what is going right or wrong, but also guiding him and suggesting few things by which the performance of the product can be enhanced and the life of the product can be enhanced. What we also do is, since these are long-term contracts, the contract with the OEM, the contract with the customer, third party, and contract between us and the customer, whether it is a leasing contract, whether it is a supply contract, whether it is a service contract, we help our customer and sit with them and get into all the contracts so that each and every point is taken care of, and there is nothing hidden which customer is not aware of before signing this thing. And you can safely assume that there will be nothing, no surprise will come to you over the period of 7 to 8 years while you are running these products, which we feel is very, very critical, because these are first time products getting into the market. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So if all the so-called legal and termination clauses are not vetted and seen properly, there can be an issue later on. But in our case, we do everything for our customer, and hence, that's a big value add which we bring on the table. So as I said, we give vehicle financing, we give EV charging solution, we take care of the residual value, we give the digital infrastructure to our customers. All our financing solutions are tailor-made. We give operating lease, we do finance lease, we do loan. Depending upon whatever a customer requires, we are happy to offer a solution based on the need. We not only believe in transaction, because transaction can happen one time, but since we are getting into an agreement for 8 to 10 years, I think it is a long-term relationship which matters, because every asset is 1 CR and above. Now, taking up 1 CR product for 8 years, requires a lot of trust between the parties, and that is what we bring on table, and we build our relationship. Important point I would like to say is that in operating lease, the benefit is the asset is not on the books of an operator; it is on our books, and hence your balance sheet is pretty light. you can do or raise whatever money you want on your balance sheet, and asset can be on our books. And once we get into an agreement, uh, you know, and we see the performance of a customer is at the on the expected level, then there is no limit to the upper cap. Like what we have seen is even good operators, they can take 20, 50, 100 vehicles from a bank. But beyond that, if they want, either they have to go to a separate bank or they have to go to multiple financiers. In our case, if our relationship, materializes, and we do a good business, keep on evaluating our customers, and then there is no upper cap. We can fund as much as your appetite is. As I said, that we are dealing with almost all the OEMs. If you see on the left-hand side, whether it is Tata, JBM, Montra, Electra, Switch, Ika, Ashok Leyland, we have funded vehicles with everyone. We have tied with all the battery OEMs as well. We currently don't do anything directly with the battery OEMs, but in future we may do something in that field as well. Few customers I've just mentioned on car side, on bus side, and on truck side, but there are many more and they cannot fit in this slide. So, but we have touch based almost all the segments of bus and truck industry. We do have tie with charge point operators, rightly so, because we build a depot. So when I say build a depot, suppose you have taken a contract and where the trucks have to move from point A to point B. We will study the entire contract. We will study the entire movement. We will design the depot. We will build the depot and offer you the same solution as we offer on the product for long-term lease for the tenure which is equivalent to the product, that is truck. So suppose you have taken a 7-year contract and when we're funding your truck for 7 years, we will fund the entire charging operating system also to you for 7 years, in which on one location we will build the entire ecosystem for an OEM to provide you the services. So we will make a pit there, we will build an office and a depot where OEM can keep their spare parts, put their manpower so that when the truck or bus comes to that particular place, it can be serviced depending upon the schedule. Here only at most of the places electricity is passed through. So it is passed through plus the cost of whatever we have invested. Why pass through? Because if we do it as a service, then the GST angle comes in. So we prefer that it is a pass through because normally these depots are captive. 70 to 80% of the depot capacity is made captive for a particular customer, so that you don't have to wait. Suppose you are coming, suddenly some other truck or bus is there. So you don't have time to wait, and then the entire ecosystem or then the entire economics goes for a toss. So we take care of that. The power is available 24/7 at all these depots. We ensure that there's enough power backup so that you don't face any problem. You can straight away come, charge your vehicle, and move out. We do have tie-up with finance companies, and we also have a tie-up with JK Tires if somebody wants that facility on, tire to be billed at per kilometer basis. So this is the senior team. If you can see on the slide, so Sandeep Gambhir, he's a CEO for Vertelo. So he's ex-Citibank and Oryx. Myself, Tushar has recently joined us as a Chief Risk Officer. He was the Chief Risk Officer for Yes Bank before joining us. Prasanna again, from the capital side. Sandeep Bhardwaj, he was most of the time with Tata Motors, so that is the technical side I'm talking about. Sandeep Saibal again from Ashok Leyland. He looks after entire depot management and service. So you can see that there is a mix of people from industry, finance industry, and automobile industry. Okay. So these are few glimpses. If you see on the left-hand side, you see we have built a depot for Fresh Bus, who's our customer. It is a captive depot, and we have put in, I think, 4 chargers here. You can see the shed. You can see We have and pit and everything given to our customer. And this particular depot was built for them in Chennai with 100% capacity utilization. Now we are building another depot for them because this depot is already fully used and there's space left. So we are building another depot for them in Chennai itself. In the center, you see is another depot we are building at Coimbatore. This is also up and ready now. And I think operations have started at this particular depot. We do place one of our guy at the depot 24/7 to ensure that everything is running smoothly at the depot and customer doesn't have to run around in case of there is an issue. So that was a brief presentation. I think one slide I missed. I will also like to show you. Okay. So if you see on the left-hand side at the top, these are the Chalo buses which run in Mumbai. These all buses are funded by us. We have funded Kroot buses in Orissa, Fresh Bus, WTI. We have funded the double decker. So in all, as I said, we have funded more than 300 buses. I'm happy to share that in this financial year, we will be funding more than 2,000 cars, more than 1,000 buses, and around 300 to 400 trucks. So that's where I just want to spend 2-3 minutes on trucks. We have now started getting into trucking segment big way because the movement on truck side have started recently. So as we all know, cement, steel, port, and mining are the four areas where trucks are running. EV trucks are working fine, and the TCO is well established. We have a tie-up with almost all the OEMs, and I think 3 to 4 deals we have. 2 deals we have signed and 2 deals we are about to sign, wherein we will be leasing or stroke giving loan to the customer as the need may be, for a tenure of 5 to 7 years, depending upon the customer contract and the requirement of a particular customer. So when next time I present, I can show you a lot of pictures of trucks. Currently, what we are funding are all 55-ton tractor trailers and dumpers of 38 ton. And as we go forward, as more and more models come into the market, we'll be more than happy to fund those. And we are also building the charging infrastructure for our customers. So if they have taken a contract with, say, Ultratech, so point A to point B, wherever they're saying us, we are certain customer wants it, certain customer do not want, they are happy to do on their own. Wherever a customer requires, then we build and charge it, entire charging infra. So if the truck contract is for 7 years, the charging infra contract is also for 7 years, and the customer pays us on the monthly basis. So that's in short what we do. Happy to answer, discuss anything which is required by the people of that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sachin ji, for walking us through your journey, through Vertelo's journey. And I think, it's quite interesting. In one of the last slides, you showed that picture where you had the branding of FreshBus and Vertelo. And also there was the Macquarie asset management, right? So, if you can throw some light on that, right? The co-branding means the assets are hosted by you, and the asset management companies means all the assets which you own as Vertelo will go to that company. So can you throw some light?
No. So okay. So that was a charging depot. So when we build a depot, since that depot was 100% for Fresh Bus, so we co-branded it as a Fresh Bus Vertelo depot because we have invested in that depot, but it is for Fresh Bus, so they are using it, and it is a co-branding, so it helps both of us. The entire asset sits with Muon India. So Macquarie Asset Management is our parent. I mean, they have floated this platform. So the entire asset stays with Muon India Limited, Muon India Finance Limited, and on the depot we do the co-branding, but on product we don't do. Product is the way it is, right?
Okay, very interesting. And so far you've done cars, buses, and now, as you mentioned, you're looking
Yeah.
at 300 trucks this year. So the sequencing shows that cars have more demand. Electric cars have more demand, or maybe less technically difficult. And then comes buses, and then comes trucks. What challenges in trucks do you foresee?
Okay, so see, car is a plain vanilla product. Frankly, we in car we do B2B. We just started B2C in corporate financing, but we don't do one car, right? We do like for example, WTI wanted 100 cars, we gave it, that kind of thing. Uh, but it's a vanilla product. There is no value add broadly beyond a point from our side other than providing capital for a longer tenure and at a larger scale. Uh, Coming to buses, in buses, it is GCC and private. So it all started with GCC, as we all know that CSL brought in, and so I think on that side, initially the contracts were not very secured, but then with PM E-Seva and PM Drive coming in, contracts are fully ring-fenced as far as security mechanism is concerned, and now we are going fully aggressive in that and doing buses at all scale. In private, we take a call on the operator because there is no such uh, government thing wherein we can draw comfort from. So we purely, it's a pure business call. We look at the TCO, we look at the books of the operator, and we move forward. On truck side, I think the execution is much faster. So let me start with the positives on truck side. There are fewer segments, there are lesser products, so easy to understand. And execution is much faster because it is private to private. On bus side, what happens is when GCC comes, the execution totally depends upon the government readiness to give you depot and documents and all. So execution takes a hell a lot of time. Here, I mean, in in months we will do 200-300 trucks to start with, which is pretty decent. And initially the challenge was on the trucking contracts because contracts were for 1 year or 3 years at max, and but EV was not fitting in. So all the operators, the customers who want EV to be deployed, as well as financiers, put in a lot of effort. Okay, boss, it has to be at least 5 to 7 years. So now we are seeing that contracts being awarded for 7 years. So once a contract is awarded for 7 years, then the TCO makes sense because the product cost is high. So EMI will be more. And you may make money or not money to start with, but you cannot be cash negative. Once an operator goes cash negative, then it becomes a huge problem. So with 7 year contracts now being given by the customers, and customers are A-grade customers like Dalmia, Ultratech, or Ports, or whatever it is, we draw a lot of comfort from them. Now it is plain vanilla depending upon the TCO, which generally is okay, and the operator or the truck operator who's buying the product, looking at his balance sheet and his books, we offer. And I mean, to my mind, it is much simpler than doing a GCC bus contract.
Of course, I think when the government gets involved, it's a little bit more complicated always. Sir, we have some questions on the chat, so I'll read them,
Yeah,
one
please.
by one. How do you think battery as a service? We hear a lot about that, and I think I don't want to name the vendor, but they have demonstrated that as well. But we don't see that growing, nor is leasing growing for battery. So, what are your views on that?
Excellent question. I think I missed on that piece. So there are in bus it is a fixed battery, correct? So there is no brainer. It is going with the product. In truck there are swappable batteries and there are fixed batteries. So when it is a fixed battery asset, it is a plain vanilla asset. I finance it. On swappable, it was a huge challenge. Actually, that's where it took us 4 months. That if I fund a truck, battery is funded by somebody else, right? Tomorrow, if something goes south, what will I do with the asset which has no battery? So as a financer, I was not comfortable on that. But battery as a service. So finally, all I can say is I'm happy to share that we have cracked that piece. We are now funding BAS for the same customer. Suppose you're taking truck from A, and so truck I will buy and lease it to you. Battery as a service you're taking from the OEM. So we have made a tripartite mechanism where we are able to fund that also. Actually, today morning only we just concluded one piece on that, and next month those trucks will be on the road. So now it can happen. I mean, it will be difficult to explain on this chat how does it work. But if there is a customer who's got that kind of need, most welcome. We'll provide a solution.
That's very encouraging, sir. I'll read the next question. What are the parameters you look for when finalizing vendors? I'm going to generalize that. The question is specifically for e-trucks, but you are dealing with n number of vendors, battery, charging point operators, buses, trucks, cars. So what are your criteria for these vendors for selecting? I'll break this question down. There are multiple questions, so maybe you can start
Sure.
first.
So see, first of all are the OEMs. So we have as I said that in our company, more than 50% of the people are non-finance guys. We are from the industry. I worked in industry for 30 years, right? So have my colleagues. So we have a very strong onboarding process of any vendor with us. If that OEM, whether it is a truck or a bus OEM or a car OEM or a charger OEM, whoever it is, if it doesn't qualify the norms or parameters which we have set, and if they don't provide or assure to provide the service backup the way we want, we don't onboard that vendor, and hence we don't finance that vendor. It's pretty simple, I mean, if I have to sum it up, that's how we go. That's why we have funded few bus operators till date. We have not funded few bus OEMs till date. On truck side also, I mean, there are established players, everybody is happy to fund. There are new players, we are funding them, but then we take a lot of measure on the back end in the contracts, legally and otherwise, as far as product performance and the annual maintenance contracts are concerned. So one thing is very clear, whatever we fund, it is mandatory for our customer to take AMC for the tenure as long as lease or loan is. So it is non-negotiable, and obligation is on the OEM to adhere and ensure that SLAs are being adhered to. We have seen in certain cases, it's a product, things fail, SLAs do go haywire a bit. And since we have our device and we track each and every product, every day morning I get a deck where I see how many assets are running today, how many are not running, why it is not running. We ask the customer. If it is solvable between the OEM and the customer, we just monitor it. But when we see it is not happening, that's where we step in. We bring OEM on board, we bring customer on board and understand what is the issue, resolve it, and ensure that product is on road ASAP, because ultimately it is my product, I have funded. So that's how we look at the product. And till that, that's a value add we've been able to provide. If you talk to one or two of our customers, I'm sure they will have stories to tell that how did we step in and help them to get the product on road much faster. Because since we have an entire technical team, we also give a lot of inputs to the operator as well as to the OEM as well. Okay, boss, if you do this thing this way, it will go much faster. That again, no other that's a differentiation we bring on.
Yeah, I mean, this is very, very great support for the for your customers, sir. Now, one is, of course, your support through telematics and then getting into the field and pulling people together to solve problems. But there is also the technical aspect. No, the OEM promises you a certain life. You encourage your customers to take AMC. There is warranty for components. But even beyond that, you don't know, right? You don't know how long the product will last, especially the battery, and what is the residual value of the battery, right? So how do you account for all this?
So again, great question. First of all, when we lease, there is a certain RV we assume. So that is a risk on me. I mean, our customer doesn't have a compulsion to buy it from me. It's an obligation. They want to buy at the RV, please buy. If you don't want to buy, RV risk I'm taking. That's one. Second, on battery, we are very, very clear. There is a life of battery which a customer says, so AMC is taken for that entire tenure. If something goes south, OEM has to replace without any question. And the replacement is also done. So say if contract is 5 to 6 years, then replacement doesn't come. But if the contract is beyond that, we maintain a certain MMR, the certain fund we create at our end, along with the customer. When the replacement is due, We step into it, we fund whatever is the delta required at that time, and we ensure that old batteries are taken by the OEM. They give the new battery, they give the benefit of that old battery being taken away, and the battery has given the warranty life which they have promised at the beginning. If it is in between that, then nothing is paid to OEM. So see, Arun, the point is, if I mean, there are big operators in India, right? They have a lot of influence and push on the an OEM, but we do this thing day in, day out. We have nothing else to do, right? So we first of all track at our end how a product is performing. So on telematics, what I said on monthly report, which we give to our customer, we tell him that this product is overused, this is underused, do this, do that. We give those suggestions. That is one. And we also talk to customer OEM on regular basis that battery degradation, this particular product is happening much faster. What is to be done, right? And we then, if like in one case happened, OEM was not agreeing, it is my fault. Operator was not agreeing, it is my fault. And they just shot a bill of 18 lakhs on the operator that you pay 18 lakhs, then only I'll change the battery. I said, boss, nothing doing. Let us get into it. We got into it. We took out the battery. Battery was sent to the OEM plant. I said, open the battery. Our team was there. We opened the battery. There was one chip which was faulty. The entire battery was fine. So without cost, battery was repaired, sent back, and replaced. Now, if that value add was not given, customer would have lost 18 lakh, right? So we, as long, so see, it is in the thinking. What we are saying is, as long as it is funded by us, it is my product. You run it properly, you service it properly, OEM will help you. If something goes wrong, we are there to support you. We will step in and we will be on your side to ensure that product runs. Buses have run now for 5 to 7 years, right? So we know the life cycle of batteries, and battery in bus and truck is almost same, right? So we feel that on the battery side, if you're using a good battery, lot of issues and apprehensions are already accounted for. The life of the battery is known. You can't anyways do any repair. If something goes wrong, you just have to take it out and send it to the OEM. So confidence level is pretty high, as far as battery is concerned. I think it's more to do with how promptly an OEM responds to the issue which comes on the ground. So most of the issues, if you ask me, is not product failing. It's how fast has been the response. If response is faster in these electronic items, the challenge is you can't repair anything, but then the best part is you just have to replace, and replacement doesn't take too much of time. I mean, a battery replacement at depot will not take more than 3-4 hours, right? So lot of knowledge of bus has been captured, brought into trucks. As and when trucks move, I think on EV side, HV EV side, most of the issues will be similar and are known. It is on the mechanical parts, because the usage of truck is very different to a bus, which we will have to see, which I don't see a much of a concern, because most of the chassis and axles are, almost similar, especially with the established players. So pretty confident,
Yeah.
things will work fine.
I mean, it's great to know that such bespoke hand-holding support is offered. This requires scale, which Vertelo has. आपके पास पैसा है. I mean, you have that gunpowder to deploy. You also have that the kind of scale in terms of customers to do that. And for a nascent sector, that is extremely important. Sir, moving on to the next question. What is the criteria for financing of commercially? Okay, I will generalize this question. What are your terms and conditions, sir? In our audience, there are folks who would like to lease trucks as well, right? There are like around 30 people who have joined, 25 attendees now. There are some people who might like to lease. Okay, so what are your terms and conditions? And broadly, very broadly.
Yeah. So see,
And how is it different from terms and conditions for leasing diesel trucks, right, or diesel cars or whatever?
Okay. So the fundamentals to understand a finance of a customer are very simple. We ask for certain documents, your last 3 year, P&L balance sheet, and on that we evaluate a party that how strong he or she is, and we set up the terms. On the financing side, I think it is on the debt equity. It is very similar to what a normal diesel truck will happen. So you say 85% funding, 15% equity kind of thing. Little bit here and there can be looked at depending upon customer to customer. We do fund as far as the tenure, 1 year minus tenure of the contract. Suppose you have 8 year contract, I can fund you up to 7 years. If you have 9 year contract, I can fund you up to 8 years, right? That is one big advantage we bring. As I said, we can step up and step down the EMIs depending upon the customer requirement. So uh, it is not a plain vanilla vehicle funding like you take in diesel. के boss bank गए and you took a loan and you're paying EMI, nothing. Rest all is your responsibility. Here, that is just one part of it. We will design the financial model based on your requirement and to see that how on the TCO side you are positive, you know. So as long as you are positive, we are sure that money will keep on coming to us. And in that framework, we will build the depot also for you if required. We will do everything. We will do with the OEM if you have not shortlisted one. We will do all the contractual agreements. We will discuss with OEMs. We will also we validate and do PDA of each and every product which moves from OEM factory. It is done by our team. Right. So suppose if you taken 20 trucks, my guy will go see the 20 trucks that they are as per the specifications, what have been promised, and then truck moves the factory. Just one example. If they have committed certain service level agreements that we will provide so many spare parts, so many people, then we ensure that it is done as per the time lines provided. And we funding, we are pretty flexible, Arun. I can tell you. We look at the customer requirement and we are ready to bend any which ways as long as it is legally possible.
Okay, sir, my follow-on is you mentioned about debt financing. So for trucks, you're focusing purely on debt financing under your NBFC arm, or are you open to
Yes.
operational leases as well?
No, we do operating lease also. So in NBFC, we do finance lease and loan. The other entity, we do only operating lease. So it is again there, I will fund 85%. So I don't take equity position and I don't fund equity. Okay. So suppose suppose we agree that I'll fund you 90%. So I will fund the 90% of the asset value. Right? In that also, sometimes you give down payment or you give 10% as a security to me. I will fund 100% of the product. At the end of the tenure, that security deposit will be almost equal to the RV. So I will knock it off and you take the asset free of cost. I mean, you don't have to pay anything at that time. So we have all kind of possible models available with us.
Very nice. Okay, how do you think, sir, the new scheme, I mean, the scheme, contours of the scheme are not shown yet, but the government MHA has announced $1 billion in interest subvention,
Yes.
credit guarantees, and so on. Do you think this will be useful for electric trucks and for Vertelo?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we being Indians, even though 1% of interest doesn't make a much of difference in the financial working, but lower interest is always welcome. And once the detail of the scheme are available, whatever benefit government passes on, we will definitely pass it on to the customer. I mean, like we do in GCC contracts, there is subsidy involved. There are payment security mechanisms. So all those benefits are passed on to the customer. Certain states are giving, like Maharashtra, there is some subsidy. Delhi, there is some subsidy. As and when you get the subsidy, just give it to us. We'll reduce the EMI for you, or we'll reduce the tenure for you, whatever you want. So yes, it is high time something comes for truck, because truck is a much larger market than bus. And if really we want to be less dependent upon the fuel, it is a trucking segment which should be backed. And I have requested at various forums that I think don't give any subsidy to the customer, don't give any interest subvention. Even if you make toll free for 2 years or 5 years, like in Maharashtra, it is there. That itself is such a huge benefit. See, it works two ways. Subsidy or anything, government will have to give from day one, whether you use the asset or not. In toll, if my truck will run, then only I will claim the toll, right? And subsidy you give upfront, toll will be spread over 5 years or 7 years. So government also pays that, and it is a huge cost saving for the customer. So we've been pushing for buses on in various states, and I'm sure sooner or later that kind of scheme will come. And if that comes, uh, excellent. And we are more than happy, and we will pass on whatever comes from the government side. And I think it will help, and I think it is required for trucking segment to get that confidence
Yeah.
that government is there to help.
Okay. Great, sir. Good to know that. I would like to go to the last one on the. Do you also? So let's look at it. You are a market maker, right? You're a ecosystem creator who is actually touching base with manufacturers, logistic players, financiers, and so on, right? Uh, so do you also act as a market maker in the sense that do you go to some steel company, cement company, and say that, hey, why don't you consider electric trucking?
Excellent question once again. I don't know who's asking this question, but some great questions. Uh, we have not done that, but that is our plan now. Maybe in a month or two. Rather, if somebody is having that kind of offer, we are more than willing to come with someone and represent as a financier to a customer that boss, we are ready to fund let's do a scheme at a larger scale, and wherein an operator doesn't have to look for finance, he doesn't have to look for business. You say, okay, this is the business, this is the per month I will pay you, out of that I get my EMI, so no questions asked, no answers given, and funding is available off the shelf. I think that is the next step which will happen. Either we do it or somebody else will do it, but we are already thinking on those lines, and sooner you will see that with at least as a test pilot with one OEM and one customer, we will do that. And we are more than happy to start.
Very good to know, sir. One of
Like
the
on bus, we do. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, Arun. On private side, we have done that. So there is an operator. We take him to OEM. Okay, he needs buses, these kind of the buses. This is the funding available for him. Let's do our agreement and then move forward. So we already tried that on bus a little bit. We will definitely love to do it on the truck side.
Very nice. One of the challenges in electric trucks, sir, is to find the reverse load. So given your data, right, now that you will grow the electric truck fleet, I'm sure you're also thinking about how you can optimize the fleet for reverse loads, right? Maybe reverse load with the same customer or, pointing to different customers. For example, Tata Steel might move things from Jamshedpur to Kolkata port, and in the reverse, you might find some other customer to for loading, right? So are you also thinking of optimizing that way?
Yeah, I think that is one of the big hurdle for more trucking segments to open up, right? And more products on the truck side to come. Why 55 tonner in these three segments is only operating? Because it is making economic sense in these two, three segments only and not in other. So because of the high capex cost of the product, a customer cannot bring it like that, bring it empty. So yes, that is one big area so there are two ways of solving it. One is the unfortunate part, which may happen with fuel prices going up. EV may start making sense. Or the other is that how do we work with transporters or customers and pick certain segments? So here we are trying to do one thing. Uh, See, in India, trucking segment works on corridors, right? There are certain corridors where a lot of truck movement happens. So there is load at point A and point B, both the sides. I think those are the sectors which we are talking to somebody. Let's pick those sectors. We want to electrify the entire sector. So we want to make it a Vertelo e-corridor. So there are enough chargers, service stations, and rest stations available for the transporter, so that he moves from point A to point B and point B to point A. Uh, We are also talking to, I mean, it can be their depot, their go down, or customer go down. We have not finalized that. But yes, that code will have to be cracked for trucking market to boom as far as India is concerned, and which is still under discussion. I don't think anybody has found a perfect answer to that. Few things I've seen, there are 19-tonner trucks deployed at Amazon, Flipkart, and then people are taking some return load, but at a very, small scale level. It has not still matured yet. I think maybe 6 months down the line, we will have some answers to this question. But we are talking to certain few of our customers also.
Very good to know. And EFAST as well, we have thought a lot about this. We are happy to, speak with you on this topic as well.
Sure.
Sir, final question. We are almost out of time. But is discoms also part of the discussion? Because when you look at trucking corridors or even your bus corridors, right, at the points where you want to keep the charging stations, the discom also has to proactively act unless you are thinking
Correct.
of solar charging, etc. So that's a different thing. So what has been your experience? What has been Vertelo's experience in this?
So, Arun, to be fair, currently wherever we have put in depots, those are big cities. So, I mean, it takes whatever time it takes for power to come, but things were available. I understand you're talking from the truck point of view when chargers will have to be off location on the highways, and how do we ensure? So, two things. One is getting power there. So, obviously, we'll have to be mindful that where 33 or 11 kVA is close by available, you have to have a depot there only. If you start asking them to pull a line, it will cost you a bomb and ages, right? I don't think that's gonna work. So one or two off locations, what we are doing. So two problems have to be solved. One is HKV line is there. Second is uninterrupted power supply, right? So first problem you can only solve by picking up the right location, 5 kilometers here or there. I think that's the way to go, at least in the near future, because Discom won't do beyond a point for one charging station, pulling a line. It's a huge task for them, and it is a huge cost otherwise. Uh, the second problem, how we are solving is currently, as I said, we are providing some sort of power backup, whether it is battery storage or gas genset or whatever it is we want to do. And now we are, since our Macquarie, the parent company, is big into renewables and solar. So we are doing some discussion internally that how we can provide uninterrupted power to our depot, by putting enough battery storage system at our depot so that if EV power, grid power is not available, the charging is still happening and happening through renewable source of energy rather than fossil fuel. So this is how currently we are trying to tackle these two problems.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I think this has been quite illuminating. And I'm sure our audience members, as well as there are other players in the ecosystem as well, we are in touch with, who would love to, speak with you in terms of electric trucks. So there is demand, okay, and we have been waiting for a player like Vertelo to come into the picture so that different types of solutions can be thought about for the sector. So with that, thank you so much, Kaustav. If you have anything else to say, you can come on now.
No, I think it's beautifully captured, and it's new insights that we get to learn every day. We speak with people on the field, right? And Waterloo's business is a new kind of a business that's entered the trucking space, and how that gets explored and helps accelerate the entire transformation to electric trucks is something that we are excited to see. And like Arun mentioned, there is enough demand, and there are enough number of people who've been wanting to reach out to financiers, understand, how can they start converting their fleets in terms of fleet operators. So we are happy to collaborate with you in terms of where the demand is, and we're also like Amit mentioned, and I know he had to drop off because he had a call to join. NITI Aayog is looking at a broader demand aggregation across corridors where there's a lot of demand. and how that happens, and how do we get partners and financiers to come in this entire conversation is something that we'd be happy to have a conversation with you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think, Sachinji, this was a really insightful session. And we'd like to thank you for coming on to the platform and sharing your insights on how this ecosystem is developing.
Thank you, Kaustav. Thank you, Arun. And all I can say is that money is not a problem. Just get a a viable business proposal on the table, and I'm sure we'll be able to crack a deal, and we'll able to help the customers to electrify as soon as possible.
That is really wonderful to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Sachinji.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for
Thank you, everyone.
staying with us for an entire hour.